Hey guys, hope everything's going well. You guys know that drill. Smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't, and comment down below. Follow me on Instagram at AIH_sports. Okay, so I'm looking at this 2005 Topps Justin Verlander, number 677 PSA 10 card. I told you I was buying a bunch of these in 2019 in anticipation of him one day going to the Hall of Fame or being inducted to the Hall of Fame. And as you know, I'm a huge baseball guy, and I was buying Jared Jeter rookies in 2018. So I was thinking, okay, let me just get ahead of the curve and let me just start buying it now. And I'll show you this graph over here. It's at PSAcard.com. All right, we all know this great website. Anyways, I was buying around here, somewhere like around $100 before the season was starting. And it may have been actually closer to like January, February. I bought 5 or 6 of these for about $100. And this video is going to show or talk about beating expectations. And 2019, as you remember, was a normal year. No pandemic, no stimulus checks. Things were normal. The economy seemed to be going on the right track. Okay. And if you look at it, Justin Verlander had a good year with the Astros. And if you look at it, this card spiked up to $200. I remember it almost doubled. And I believe this was around the time where Verlander threw the no-hitter. And that wasn't built into the cake. So people were buying his card up. And he had a good year that year, if you remember. And then they went to the World Series. They ended up losing, but that card, I think they play the Nationals. It went as high as $300. So you had that spike up into the playoffs. This, as I mentioned, is before the pandemic, okay? And then if you can see, after all the craziness last year, it went up to what, 525, and then it even spiked up to 660 in April. That's insane. So yeah, I sold a lot of mine in 2020, somewhere in some at like 165, some in the 200s, some in the 300s as well. And right now it's, I think, close to 345. So yeah, I could have waited and just sold them all now, but I thought to myself, hey, I've met my expectations. The prices of the cards have went up more than I anticipated. So I'm going to get rid of them. And I'm probably going to be buying back much, probably in the next few years. Hopefully prices come down lower. And my intention was not to sell the cards quicker, but I saw, hey, his cards just jumped up more than what I thought it did. Okay. Next guy I want to look at is the player DeMar DeRozan. He's now with the Chicago Bulls. I watch the Chicago Bulls as they are doing well. I usually don't watch that much basketball these days, but the Bulls are doing pretty good. Now, they didn't do a good job last night against the Spurs. Anyways, DeRozan has had a phenomenal year, game-winning shots all the time. It just seems like he's been clutch. And if you look at it, the spike high, and let me look at the card here. This number 320, okay? And that's one of his rookie cards from 2009. If you look at this crazy, there were various spikes, but one of the spikes was in 2020 in October at $150. And at the high last year, it actually went down where every card was spiking. It was $109. Okay. But let's just look at expectations. Okay. In August is $47. Yeah, he signed with the new team. And when you sign with the new team, cards usually go up. But he has been exceeding expectations. Like every night, he's scoring above 20 points. He had close to 30 points last night. And as of the 9th, this was $177. So if you look at here, $47 to $177, this is a PSA 9 card. So it's all about exceeding expectations. And yes, a lot of cards have gone down. You could talk about the Fleer 86 card I mentioned. Talk about a lot of modern basketball cards have gone down. But if you are able to find individuals that beat expectations, their values should go higher. And my philosophy is look in the off season, and then if you pick a player and they exceed expectations, you're going to do well. Now, it's going to be much harder to find individuals that exceed expectations. This is just like picking a very small cap stock, which has a lot of risk. That's why when I'm just looking at stocks, I mainly just look at the index because it's a basket of stocks. Now, there are some platforms, I believe, that have baskets of sports cards, but that's something I'm not going to delve into because the problem that I mentioned with sports cards is liquidity. And speaking of liquidity, I see a lot of people buying raw cards of DeRozan. So I wouldn't want to be holding on to DeRozan if I had DeRozan. Now I don't have any, but this is just my own thought process. I'm not telling you guys what to do though. Okay. One of the last players that I'm going to look at, or no, here's one of the other players. So it's Cooper Kupp, right, from the Rams. And if you look at it, this was just last year, right? His cards, like no one was touching Cooper Kupp, and then and a zany increase. And he was third in the MVP. And I believe one of his cards right now is on eBay is going for close to, it's right around this range, 160. So if people had bought a long time ago, even though it's not that big of an increase, in October, it was $92 according to the sale. And then it went up to 130. Now they're in the playoffs. I believe it's over 100. Now there was a sale in December that was low, but ultimately it's about exceeding expectations. Not many people would think that he was an individual that would be in the top 5 in the MVP voting. And that's one of the reasons Cooper Kupp and also their defense and also Stafford, that's why they're in the NFC Championship game. Should be some interesting football this weekend. All right, the GOAT, Tom Brady. He's going to be retiring probably the next week from reports that I've heard. And this is one of the cards that I had bought in 2019. I've mentioned over and over again. I bought 5 of these PSA 8s. And I'm going to show you the chart of the PSA 8. And if you had bought during the off season, it went as low as 730. I find it hard to believe, but it is what it is. And it was $1,200 in summer, 1,000, some sales. This card is a bit more liquid than other sports cards. So in terms of liquidity, I like the Brady's. I like the Michael Jordan cards. Now, I believe Tom Brady will finish second in MVP. And his card went up over the year. And that's because he exceeded expectations, in my opinion. And they won the Super Bowl last year. So you had, there's a classic dip in the offseason, right? And off season is probably the best time, in my opinion, to look at cards, if those are for those that are speculating. So that $1,000 now, it's what, 1870, 1750. And here's the deal. Tom Brady is going to retire, so you may see a spike up in his cards in the next week, but that should gradually go back down. You're probably going to see, in my opinion, an off-season dip. And yeah. So long story short, though, if you're going into January before the playoffs ended for Brady, it had strong sales to 1875. Now is a good time probably to sell, in my opinion, at this point. But those individuals who had correctly bought because they felt Tom Brady cards were cheap, well, could have made a decent profit if they sold. And I was buying, all these Brady cards. Can't believe how cheap they were. Let's see, where was I buying? Okay, so I was buying right around here. I bought in a lot, so it's not going to show up probably in a sale on eBay. I bought about 4 of them for about $225 shipped. Okay, I bought it a little cheaper than these prices because I bought it in a lot. So look at this chart, $249 to like $2,000. That's an insane move. And some people, they don't understand my perspective when I say, like, dude, this sports cards, in my opinion, and I've said this over and over again, they're overvalued. When you see moves like this, I mean, that's an unsustainable move. And you are going to see correction. Now, people may say, hey, Brady won a Super Bowl. Yes, that's true. And if you look at it, I remember, so this was what, in December of 2020, his cards had only doubled from where I bought it for like year over year, or close to double. Still a decent return, don't get me wrong. When he went to Tampa, it helped that you had the stimulus checks, you had the Fed printing money, but they lost against the Bears really badly. Tom Brady didn't know how many points there were, or not points, how many timeouts he had or downs. He thought it was fourth down, but they actually had lost the ball. Tom Brady looked like he was washed up. And after being 7-5, they just started winning all these games. So Tom Brady exceeded expectations. And then that $500 card went to, can't believe it, like $2,000, $2,300, right around the Super Bowl. I wish I had sold maybe one of the cards. It went to $2,850. Yeah, that's insane, man. Right around the Super Bowl, I should have sold one of the cards there. But yeah, so it's all about exceeding expectations. You can make money, in my opinion, but it's just going to be really tricky. All of the good times to buy, they're what, in 20, is basically before 2019, in my opinion. Or I mean, before 2020, all the good buys. Some people have made a killing. So once again, it's all about buying low, selling high, looking at the off season to buy. And also now, if you're going to speculate in a guy that you think is going to make you money. But then if the guy doesn't perform, then you're going to have to eat that cost up. Anyways, guys, I wanted to show you my thought process. Remember to smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't, comment down below, guys. Thank you.